I've been dancing in my room, swaying my feet, trying to give you love and a kiss on the cheek.
Welcome and very good morning everyone. Today I will present about disaster at Chernobyl that's happened at Ukraine. So my objective is to learn and the knowledge about the effect of dangerous material is an organism, and to gain information about chemical hazard and their characteristics, and to learn protect ways to keep great environment to ecosystem. Okay, do you know why the Chernobyl calamity was caused by chemical hazard, which is atomic methane, and it happened on Saturday, 26 April 1986 at the NOM 4 reactor within the Chernobyl atomic control plant. Okay, it's considered the most accidentally bad atomic catastrophe in history and was caused by one of it were two atomic vitally mishaped appreciate at 7:31 individual pass on the coordinate result of the canopy. Okay, then next slide. We have feather of the reactor. So feather reactor ni we have 10. Okay, it is configuration, reactor void, control configuration and safety road, phase intersection of safety of emergency roads, power of control, instruction showing the merging of reactivity, scale of the reactor, and also ability to modify safety device, alarm and plant trips. Okay, inland water scooper also colon primer is a system, and it also have containment. Okay, that's all from me, and I pass it to my friend to present more. Okay, thank you.
Next, accident scenario. 4 of the 8 main circulating pumps MCP were involved compared to 6 that were in normal service. The turbine steam was turned off and the turbine generator began to run down. The electricity for the MCP had to be supplied by the turbine generator. The turbine generator's momentum declined, so did the power it generated for the pumps. The flow rate of water decreased, leading to increased vapor vacuum formation in the coolant flowing through the fuel pressure tubes. When the ED5 button, also known as the EPS5 button of the reactor emergency protection system was pressed, the scram was started. Steam pumps continued to produce the insertion of the control rods into the reactor core start when the ED5 button was pressed. Per the simulation, an increase in fuel temperature and steam accumulation would have been triggered by the power surge, leading to a rapid increase in steam pressure. Next, immediate remediation of site and area. Roughly 60 remote-controlled robots were used by the Soviets to clear the debris of the roof. Was the original plan. Many failed because of the effect on their electronic control of high level of radiation. A containment system was designed to provide radiological protection by preventing airborne contamination and preventing the weathering of reactor residues. This was the biggest civil engineering mission in history, involving 250,000 construction workers. Coalfield roads were collected by the scientists manually. Buildings were controlled by drilling holes and inserting long metal detector tubes in the reactor. Clean up operation lasting 7 months. That's all from me. Thank you.
So next, we got the factor that causing the accident to occur. Okay, one of the factors is design. For the fire incident initiator, a variety of possibilities were cited, all which are based on the design feature. Instead of joining discussion by taking firm opinion, which might shed a little if any new light, INSAG choose to consider certain design concerns that pose fundamental questions. The next thing is the positive void coefficient. The reactor had a dangerously high positive reactivity void coefficient. The void coefficient is a calculation of how reactor in the water coolant responds to increased steam formation. Most other design of reactors have negative void coefficient. The rate of nuclear reaction slow as steam bubbles from in the coolant, so less neutrons are slowed down as the steam void increases. Faster neutrons are less likely to spread uranium atoms, so less power is produced by the reactor. Next, we got control rod design. A weakness in the design of the control rods was another cause. The control rods are intended to control the reactor multiplication factor K. A removal of the rods causes an increase in the value of K and vice versa because control rods absorb neutrons. Of the control rods, 163 from the top of the reactor are inserted and are made of graphite. The rod were found to be 1.3 meters shorter, which is inappropriate than stipulated. Next thing, we got operator actions, which means one of the operator actions is violation of procedures. Next thing is the departure of from the test procedures, and the lastly one is other coefficient safety culture. To summarize this, we can conclude that the plan that was well below safety requirements that were in place was when it was built unsafe feature and even implemented them. So, and another one is insufficient attention to independent analysis of safety. So next is the environmental impact. The water bodies. Next to the Pripyat River, which feeds into the Dnieper reservoir systems, the Chernobyl nuclear power plant is one of the largest surface water systems in Europe, providing water of Kiev 2.4 million inhabitants at the time and was still in spring floods when the accident occurred. Therefore, in the immediate aftermath of this disaster, nuclear pollution is aquatic environments become a major concern. Next is flora and fauna. 4 square kilometers, 1.5 square kilometers of pine forest immediately downwind of the reactor turned reddish brown after the disaster and died, gaining the red forest tag. Often, some animals died or stopped reproducing in the world's heat regions. And next is human food chain. With radiochasm binding less with humic acid, fatty salts that the known binding fixation that occurs on the calamite-rich clay soils. Many of Ukraine's marshy areas had the highest transfer coefficient of soil to milk of soil activity. Next is human impact. During emergency response and immediate aftermath, acute radiation effects. 237 individuals suffered from acute radiation poisoning in the wake of the explosion, of which 21 died within the first 3 months. A study of radiologically impact of the Chernobyl disaster on the atmosphere and health was published in 2005 of Chernobyl. Next is effect of major radionuclears that are dangerous. And next is abortion. Journalists mistrust many medical practitioners of the accidents, and in turn advise in public to mistrust them. Next is socio-economic consequence. The overall economic cost of the tragedy is hard to establish. The Soviet Union spent 18 billion rubles on contamination, according to Mikhail Gorbachev, virtually bankrupting itself.
Alright guys, let's start with the steps for improving plant safety with RBMK reactors. The first step for improving plant safety with RBMK reactors is by reducing the reactivity positive void coefficient. Secondly, improving the emergency protection system's response efficiency to avoid the accident happen again. Thirdly, introducing ORM calculation programs that produce a numerical indication on the control panel of the operator of the current ORM value. Fourth, preventing the shutdown of the emergency safety systems while the reactor is running on power. Fifth, production of more effective core cooling emergency system. 6. total replacement of reactor control and safety systems and implementation of a multi-zone monitoring system for power density and emergency protection that operates on in-core detector signals. Besides that, redundancy of safety system by multi-train. In addition, full-scale implementation of automated systems for metal monitoring. Besides, improving the performance and accuracy of auxiliary power systems. In addition, improvement in the resistance to earthquakes of reactor structures and components. In addition, enhancement of the steam drum system capability for the reactor room. Last but not least, we must do actions and other interventions. Thank you. That's all for me.